Home security is something that goes hand in hand with our smart homes, with a new wave of companies entering the market with a much more modern and smart take on home security than the traditional wired solutions. SafelyTeam is one of those companies that has been developing their solution from the ground up with a focus on delivering much more than just an alarm system. But have they managed to achieve that? Full transparency, as always, all of the sensors and devices were provided by SafelyTeam, but no money changed hands and they do not get to see this video before it goes live. I do also want to mention that SafelyTeam is a fairly new company based here in the UK, but all of their products are available to buy direct through their website and not just some third-party or crowdfunding only. As mentioned, SafelyTeam isn't just focusing on purely security in the traditional sense here, but also safety and wellness, as well as smart home integration. They have 3 packages that they offer as a base, however you can customize these however you want. The first one is the Habitat package, which is more focused on safety, with things like a flood alarm, heat alarm, and air quality sensor for $219. The Defender package for $249, which is more for security with a motion sensor, contact sensor, a siren, and a keypad with 2 wireless key tags. Finally, you have the Habitat Plus Defender package for $379, which is a combination of the first 2 packages. Once you pick your base package, you're free to add whatever additional sensors you want to tailor it to your needs, and all 3 packages also include the gateway, which we will talk about in just a minute. After I went through and placed my order, I was then asked to assign my devices and sensors to rooms in my house, and this is actually so that they can tailor the experience to be just a little bit more personal. After that, you can select 1 month of free trial of their Gold monitoring service, which gets you access to full 24/7 365 monitoring, after which it will cost $18.99 per month. When your order arrives, the first thing you will see upon opening the box is a quick instruction letter. Under that, you will find the box for the gateway, which is labelled Open Me First. This is the first step in the setup process, and remember earlier when I mentioned that there was a bit more of a personal touch on everything? Well, SafelyTeam has actually personally taken all of my devices, opened them up, pre-configured them by pairing them all to my gateway, and labelled them before shipping them. And this isn't just a special experience just for me, this is the same experience that you would get also as a customer. This allows them to set up everything in advance so that you don't need to spend time walking around your house, pairing all of your devices and setting each one up individually. You don't have to do any of that. It's all just done for you. But it also allows them to quality control every single sensor so that you can be safe in the knowledge that when it arrives with you, it's guaranteed to work. After unboxing and plugging the gateway into power and also Ethernet, I downloaded the Safely Connect app, created an account and logged in, and my gateway and all of my devices were sitting there listed in the app with the gateway already online and connected. Absolutely no setup required from me. After that, it was a case of unboxing the rest of the sensors, which are all individually labelled on the side with the location that you pre-configured during the ordering process, and then sticking those sensors into the locations that you pre-configured, simply pulling the battery tab to turn them on, and each one will come online in the app immediately. And that's pretty much it for the setup. You really can have this from the box to operational in about 10 minutes or so. I really love the simplicity and the ease of use here. The entire process really is seamless and pretty much anyone can install this since it comes entirely pre-configured. Now let's talk a little bit more about the sensors and devices you get. All of the devices are completely wireless except from the smart plug obviously, the siren, and also the hub/gateway. They are built on the Zigbee 3.0 protocol and as far as I can tell are completely standard Zigbee. No shenanigans going on, and I was actually able to pair them with my Home Assistant and the devices just showed up instantly with all of their functions operational. Really glad to see that. If we look closer at the sensors, they are actually made by a company called Develco, which I personally hadn't actually heard of before, but after a bit of research they appear to be a white label supplier of sensors and IoT devices, which I personally think is a good choice. Since Safely is a newer company, I'd rather leave the hardware aspect to a company who has been around a lot longer and seems to have a proven track record, having been around since 2007. The nice thing about all of the sensors and devices is that they don't just serve one function. They have multiple multiple sensors inside. So the contact, motion, flood, heat, smoke and air quality sensors, they all have temperature sensors built right into them, which is really nice. All of the security focused devices, so the contact sensor, the motion sensor, the keypad and the siren have tamper protection built into them also, whilst the safety focused devices, so that's your flood, heat and smoke sensors, have audible sirens built into them for when they are triggered. The air quality sensor is a bit more of a unique one. It measures temperature, humidity and something called volatile organic compound, or VOC, essentially monitoring air quality and letting you know when you need to open a window for fresh air to help prevent the VOC levels from getting too high. Battery life on all of these sensors are actually pretty incredible, to be honest. I haven't obviously been able to test them fully for myself, but their claims for battery life are very good. I'll put all of the battery life stats up here, but most of these sensors last for 3 or 5 years, with the contact sensor even lasting up to 9 years. One thing you may have noticed earlier is that these certainly aren't the cheapest of sensors, and I do think this is one of the areas that SafelyTeam needs to improve on a bit, particularly around the contact and motion sensors, since these are most likely the ones that you're going to be buying quite a few of potentially. Currently, the contact sensor is £30 and the motion sensor is £35, which is pretty expensive, and these will definitely start to add up. If they could even reduce the price of these by even £5 or £10, then I'd be much happier, given that they all include a temperature sensor as well as some other features. Also, £50 for a smart plug is pretty redonkulous. Finally, let's discuss the hub, or as SafelyTeam calls it, the gateway, and some of the features that it has. Firstly, connectivity. It has quite a lot. Alongside its Zigbee 3.0 radio, it also has Bluetooth Low Energy 4.2, Ethernet and Wi-Fi. SafelyTeam would prefer that you had it plugged into Ethernet for a more reliable connection. However, you can connect this via Wi-Fi instead if you want, for where Ethernet isn't convenient. If you have it plugged in via the network cable and that drops off for some reason, it will automatically pick up Wi-Fi and carry on working. However, what if your Wi-Fi or internet goes down? Well, the gateway is actually fitted with an eSIM, which is pre-activated with a silver or gold subscription, which we will get to in a second, meaning that it will automatically connect to the internet over 4G so that you can still access your security system should your house go dark, so to speak. But what if your house actually went dark with a power cut? That's where another nice feature comes in. It has a battery backup built right into it, which kicks in instantly as soon as the power goes off, and I was actually able to test the battery life on this. I got just about 2 hours of life from the battery, which is actually pretty impressive given all the connectivity that it has. Also, the hub has local processing, so that if you do happen to be caught without internet and without mobile data, then the functions that can execute locally on the hub will continue to work. The siren also has a built-in battery backup, allegedly lasting up to 12 hours. Not sure if that's with the siren running or not, but there is absolutely no way I was willing to test that for even more than a few minutes, because this thing is loud. Okay, so we spoke a fair bit about the hardware. Let's now take a look at the app and the performance. When you open the app, you will land on the main dashboard, which has all of your devices laid out in a nice looking, simple and easy to use interface in these tiles. Tapping into the tiles will show you the current state of the sensor and the temperature and battery where applicable, as well as the last activity on that sensor. On the main dashboard, you can also swipe over to create more dashboards and configure the view in a way that makes sense to you. Tapping the devices menu allows you to see all your current devices where you can edit them, and this is where you can also add new devices in the future if you plan on adding more devices to your setup. The next page over is the automations page, and weirdly for this channel, I'm not going to spend too much time here, and that's because it's in its very early stages at the moment, so there really isn't much to discuss. All you're currently able to do at the moment, at least with the kit that I have, is to group smart plugs together use smart plugs in a scene for lighting, and you can also create pretty much one basic rule, which is a thermostat. You can use any of the temperature sensors to turn on or off a smart plug that would be connected to a heater or an aircon unit, for example, in order to control the temperature. I don't see this as very useful at the moment, but like I said, this is in its early stages, and according to the SafelyTeam roadmap, they plan to expand this functionality in June this year. They're also working on integrations with Alexa, Google Home, SmartThings, Philips Hue, and IFT, which should add much more functionality, and this is planned for August 2021. However, at the moment, it is its own standalone platform. I get what they're trying to do with building their own rules, and I think that is an important part of the solution. However, I don't think that they should prioritize this over integrations with third parties. The vast majority of people looking at this solution are already going to have some sort of smart home platform through Google Home or Alexa or Home Assistant, and so I think it would make this a much more attractive product to seriously prioritize third-party integrations over trying to build their own rule engine first. Being able to use these sensors with other aspects of your smart home would be a game changer for this platform. Using my motion sensors to turn on my lights as well as performing security duties, for example, is pretty essential. And making this platform work with Google Home, Alexa, and Home Assistant, where they already have vast catalogs of pretty much every single device out there, is a much quicker route to making that happen, as opposed to trying to start from scratch and reinvent the wheel. It really makes sense to leverage existing platforms first, in my opinion. Finally, we come to the actual alarm functionality, which is obviously a major component of this entire setup. SafelyTeam offers a 24/7 monitoring service with their Gold subscription, so that you can have 24/7, 365 monitoring on your property. This is done via Stanley Security, which is a very well-known security monitoring service around the world, and they are NSI Gold certified. They will continuously monitor your property for break-ins as well as flood and fire alarms. The way it works is that you register up to 4 contacts and their phone numbers in the app, and you also register a safe word of your choice. Then if the alarm is triggered, they will immediately contact the first number on the list and ask them to confirm their identity with that safe word. If the first contact can't be reached, they will immediately go through the rest of the contacts in turn, and if they still can't make contact, they will text your phone. Police dispatch isn't there yet, but it's said to be released in Q2 of 2021, so hopefully that shouldn't be too far away. The app will also notify you immediately of any changes, such as the alarm being set or triggered, as well as if you need to open a window if the air quality sensor is triggered. I did, however, have issues with the monitoring of my particular property. Everything would trigger properly, the alarm would go off, the siren would be going off, I'd get the notification to my phone in the app, but the alarm company wouldn't call me. Apparently this was due to the area or the postcode I live in not yet being updated on the database at Stanley Security. It shouldn't be an issue for you guys, but I did just want to let you know that happened to me. I did want to touch on the subscriptions here because I feel it's pretty important, and there is 3 different subscriptions that SafelyTeam sell. Bronze for $4.99 per month, Silver for $9.99 per month, and Gold for $18.99 per month. Now there is a lot of information here, so I'll chuck up the differences on screen here so that you can see, but the main ones are that Silver has all of the features of Bronze, but with the 4G eSIM enabled in case you lose Wi-Fi. Fair enough, that obviously costs money. And Gold has the exact same features as Silver, but again you get the 24/7 property monitoring included also. Again, totally reasonable, that obviously costs money also. But when I saw that, I was like, okay, that definitely makes sense. So what the heck is the purpose of the Bronze subscription? And then I reread that first line again. Full access to the Safely Connect app. And I'm like, wait, so does that mean that if you don't want to continue to pay a subscription, that you will get locked out of the app? And I actually queried this with the SafelyTeam. I thought for sure it was just me misinterpreting this and a bad choice of words on the website, but this is what they said. Currently, we will not be able to offer a service without a subscription, and the device will just work as a local device without an app. This is still being implemented. And I replied, replied, okay, can you clarify that things will stop working without a subscription? And they said, currently it will still work, but in the coming months, it may stop working depending on how we implement it. And that was my first moment of real disappointment with the SafelyTeam system. I really cannot get on board with paying for a subscription fee to use hardware that you've already paid for, especially when the hardware is already pretty expensive as it is. I would have a very hard time believing that they are selling this hardware at a loss in the hopes of regaining the money through the subscription fee. If they are selling this hardware at a loss, then they seriously need to have a word with the hardware supplier. The saving grace here is that this has not yet been implemented, like they said, and currently you do not need any subscription to use an app. So that means they can still reverse this decision. Seriously, SafelyTeam, if you take one thing away from this video, please scrap that entire plan and make it 2 subscription tiers only. However, that aside for now, I have been living with the SafelyTeam system for just over a month at this point, and I have quite a good feel for how it works, and generally when it comes to the hardware, I have no real complaints at all. The system is incredibly responsive, it just works every single time, no weird sensor dropouts or random missing of events, it just works. I love how every single device has a temperature sensor built into it, and the battery lives are also pretty phenomenal, again if accurate. It's also super easy to set up, like literally anyone could have this set up in about 10 minutes or so. Since SafelyTeam pre-configures everything for you beforehand, all you have to do is stick up the sensors where you want them and pull the battery tab. It really doesn't get much more easy than that. The software is also really simple and intuitive too. Notifications always came through when they were supposed to. The layout is really nice, easy to work with, and is just overall really responsive and fast. However, pricing is where SafelyTeam has the biggest problem right now. But the good thing with that is that that's probably the easiest thing for them to fix. The pricing of their hardware is definitely on the high side. Again, £50 for a smart plug is pretty mind-blowing. And their monitoring service for $18.99 isn't too bad. However, SimpliSafe, an obvious competitor to this system, comes in at $19.99. But they have more features and their police dispatch is actually working right now. But again, these are all super easy for SafelyTeam to fix, as opposed to their hardware just flat out being bad, which it definitely isn't. Their hardware is very solid. If they can pull the pricing of their hardware and the monthly subscription down a little bit to be just a little bit more reasonable, then that makes this a far more attractive offering. Sure, there are definitely some key features missing, mostly around the software, such as the police dispatch not yet being a thing, and the third-party integrations not yet implemented either, and I definitely cannot give my full recommendation with that bronze subscription still being a thing. However, everything they do have so far is solid, and if they can get those other features implemented soon, then they have an excellent platform and base to start working from here. And I'm pretty excited to see where they start to take this in the future. For people looking for the new wave of security systems that do more than just security, that are reliable, easy to use, and can be installed hassle-free in under 10 minutes, then SafelyTeam is a good candidate and definitely worth considering, again, if they can get that subscription issue resolved. But what do you guys think about the SafelyTeam security system? Have you got something already, or are you planning on picking something up? Please do let me know in the comments down below. I love reading all your comments and hearing your guys' thoughts. So yeah, let me know in the comments down below. Make sure to drop this video a like and get subscribed if you aren't already. And I will see you in the next video.